everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you are new to my channel is all about travel, how to elevate your travel, how to use points and miles to elevate your travel without spending any extra money, and how to get your finances in order so that way you can enjoy traveling and not stressing about the cost of travel. In today's video, I'm going to go over the 4 steps to creating a budget. So a lot of people don't like the word budget, so you can think of it as a money plan, a spending plan, intentional budget, whatever you want to call it. Basically, it's a plan for your money. And if you have any type of financial goal, it is important that you come up with a money plan or a spending plan or a budget, all the same thing. Because otherwise, you're just kind of spending your money and you don't have any kind of goals. So if you have goals, then you need to be intentional about your spending. And one way to do that is to create a budget. So don't think of budgets as being constraining and limiting. This again is just a plan for your money so that way you can hit your financial goals. The 4 steps that I think about when creating my spending plan are as follows. First, you need to track your money for at least 2 weeks and if possible for a whole month. You can't create a plan for your money. You can't be intentional about your money until you kind of have a baseline and you know where you are. So in this step, you're just really collecting the information, collecting the data, seeing how you're spending money, seeing where you're spending money, seeing how much you spend, and then that's going to help you create your spending plan. Once you've tracked your spending for 2 weeks to a month, the next thing is to create margin or create buffer. So if you are spending more, if you're spending the same amount that you bring in or more, then you have no buffer or margin in how you're spending. And it's important to create this buffer because life happens and you need to have a savings cushion because you never know what can pop up. And if you don't have margin or a buffer, if something does pop up, that can completely derail what you've worked so hard to put together. So after you've tracked your spending and you've created margin, if you didn't already, the next thing is to lay out where you want your money to go. Be intentional about your spending. So if you really value eating out, then maybe you have $1,000 a month earmarked towards dining out. That's up to you. You get the chance to, in creating your plan, to decide where your money is going to go, and that should line up with your priorities. So if your priorities are travel, dining out, and health and wellness, but you saw when you were tracking your money that your money is being spent on something other than those things, then this is a time for you to reflect and maybe move things around and make sure your spending reflects your priorities. This isn't the time for someone to sit and say, oh, okay, well, I was reading these books and they said I can't go out and buy a latte every day. If that makes you happy, if you want to prioritize for that, if you want to move things around in your spending plan to make sure you have money to do that, then that's you. This is your chance when you're creating your spending plan to decide what you want to do with your money and making sure it aligns, again, with your priorities and your financial goals. And then the last part is just reassessing every so often. So not only do your goals and priorities change, but maybe something is coming up in a month and you just need to reassess and move things around. And that's fine. This is your spending plan. As long as you're earmarking your money the way that you want, you can do whatever you want to do with it. One important caveat though, it is important when creating your spending plan to only create a spending plan for the money that you currently have. This is not a projection. This is with the money that I have in the bank, what do I want to do with it? Because, inevitably you're thinking, oh, I've been working really hard and I heard that we're getting a bonus this year. And now you're thinking of all these things and creating a spending plan off of this bonus that might not materialize, or it might not be as much as you thought you had. So then that's when you kind of start to get in trouble because you've already started kind of spending and creating a plan for money that you didn't have. So it's important when you're intentional to make sure you're being intentional about the money that you have. And then, as I said, you can just reassess every so often and change your spending plan if you want. It's your spending plan. You can do with it what you want. As I've said in a previous video, I've been kind of being intentional about every penny of the money that I have and available to me for the last, 10 something years. And so my priorities really are giving and traveling, and I really like food. So I have a lot of money earmarked for food. So every so often I reassess. And as I am looking at where I'm spending, does that align with my priorities? And if not, then I move things around. And if so, I'm good to go. So think about this. I used to be a teacher, so I kind of think about this as my lesson plans. When I first started teaching, my lesson plans were very detailed, kind of down to the exact minute, how long I was going to do different things, because I needed to have that for, just kind of being a new teacher. And as I continued to teach the same subject year after year after year, I didn't necessarily need all that structure in my lesson plans. I kind of knew what the ebbs and flows were. I still had a lesson plan because I was still intentional about what the students needed to learn, but it just looked different. And so I think about my budget or my spending plan the same way. When I first started, it was super granular, very detailed. And now that I've been doing it for a while, it is more of a framework, and it's still, I decide where each dollar is going to go, but I just don't have the categories that I used to have previously. You can also think about this like going to the gym or training for a marathon or doing anything. The first time you went to the gym and maybe you're like, okay, I'm going to increase my squat. I don't know. Maybe you had a goal of squatting 200 pounds. When you got in there, you probably couldn't squat 200 pounds at first, and that's okay. And you knew that, and you would go consistently, and you would just keep trying and adding a little more weight on. Or if you're training for a marathon, you're not just going to get out there. I mean, some people can, but most people aren't just going to get out there and run 26.2 miles. There's a training plan. So little by little, you increase, you go a little bit further, you put more weight on the squat bar and you squat a little bit more. Think about your budget the same way. Don't get frustrated if you go and you create the first budget and it doesn't quite suit your needs. Don't just give up and say, oh, I tried it, this isn't for me. No, just be consistent. Things are going to change. You might have a good day, you might have a bad day. Just keep going. The most important thing is that you are doing it. You're not going to get it right all the time. It's going to take a while for you to get there, but just be kind to yourself, reassess the situation, and keep it moving. So those are my quick, easy tips for setting up a budget or spending plan. If you have some other tips, make sure you comment below. If you have questions or if you want to tell me about your spending plan, would love to hear it. Comment below as well. If you haven't already, please make sure you subscribe so you can be notified when I release new content. And as always, thanks for watching. Bye.